Well, Mother Nature has blessed us with a perfect day for the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, the home opener for the Browns here at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. Captains are at midfield. We're moments away from Johnny Manziel and the Browns against Mariota and the Titans. It's coming up next. .67 degrees. Man, oh man, has Mother Nature blessed us with a little football weather here in the month of September. Slight breeze. The winds will swirl down below. Ken Whisenhunt, his second season with Tennessee, but he went to the Super Bowl as a head coach for the Cardinals. Mike Penton, longtime NFL defensive assistant in his second year here in Cleveland. Coons will tee it up. The Browns won the toss. They deferred. Mike Penton said, if I win a toss, there's no way I'm taking the football to start a ball game. I want my defense out on the field. Bishop Sankey is back deep to receive for the Titans. Week number 2 of the National Football League is underway here in Cleveland, Ohio. Sankey will take it 9 yards deep, just take a knee. And that means the Titans will begin first and 10 from the 20. And Marcus Mariota, we met with him last night, Adam, and he is as cool as you will find for a 22-year-old quarterback.
Well, I had a chance to do a game of his when he was just a freshman at Oregon, and he hasn't changed one bit. Regardless of the success that he had last week, he's been the same guy and has a perfect temperament to be a quarterback here for this offense.
Well, you saw his numbers, 13 of 16, 209 yards, 4 first-half touchdowns. In fact, Ken Whisenhunt told us that they probably only used half their plays because it was a blowout by the second half. Sankey in motion out of the backfield on first down from the 20. Mariota out of the shotgun. We'll see him under center also. He was under pressure by Kruger. His first pass is complete to right, but he is met immediately. Kawan Williams, take a look at the lineup for the Titans, the offensive line. Well, Patasi, the rookie, has been outstanding from training camp into the first game. The specialty players, Craig Stevens will replace Delaney Walker, who's out with an injury. Stevens is more of a blocker and not a receiver. Well, a late flag was called against the Titans, so they'll move the ball back 10 yards. It'll be a holding penalty. Some questions about the offensive line for Ken Whisenhunt coming into this year.
It was a big part. It was musical chairs last season. And for them to get their running game going in here, they had to settle on his good starting 5 combination. They moved Byron Bell over to right guard or to left guard. He gives them a lot of beef inside to try and get Sankey going.
Well, first and 20 from the 10. The handoff goes to Terrence West, the former Brown, and he gets maybe a yard to the right side. Craig Robertson makes the tackle. Well, speaking of the Browns defense, how about Danny Shelton? I saw him today at the hotel. He was raring to go for the home opener, the rookie out of Washington. The linebacking core, Carlos Dansby, there was a question about whether he would play. He's in there. But Paul Kruger, 11 sacks last year. They need somebody else to pick up the slack with the pressure. And Joe Hayden, there may not be a better cover corner, although Joe Hayden says Darrelle Revis is probably close. We have an injury on the field for the Tennessee Titans. Kendall Wright is being tended to. We'll take a break and be back to Cleveland right after this. Kendall Wright hopped off without any help. We'll try to get you an update of his injury. Dorial Green-Beckham, the rookie, checks in. He's in motion to the far side. They're directing traffic with him. Harry Douglas is behind him. McCluster's in the backfield. It's second down from the 11 for Tennessee. Mariota out of the shotgun. Long snap count. Trying to get some time. He's looking to throw long to the far side, and he overthrows Green-Beckham. All right, Adam, so here's the injury on Kendall Wright. He was not hit at all.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. You're going to see him in the slot, and he goes down for a chop block, and it's just not really clear what happened to his lower leg.
Well, good news. He is back in. We said he hopped off the field, and he was starting to walk as he went to the sidelines. He had a great week last week, 4 catches for 101 yards. Mariota told us yesterday, he said it was just his week. He said, I don't know if I'll spotlight him again or if we will. It was just his week. Mariota facing a 3rd down and 19. Play clock is down to 3. He just gets it off. And he throws to the middle for McCluster, and he's up to the 20, so he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Williams makes the tackle. There is a flag down in the backfield. The Browns will decline this.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense number 77. Penalties decline. 4th down.
So Lewan called for a penalty earlier, called for the infraction there. So the Titans will be forced to punt. Well, that's a huge step forward for the Cleveland Browns.
It is, and when you look at Tennessee offensively last week, it was a perfect start. So far, in their very first drive of this game, Taylor Lewan, 2 penalties, and they have to punt.
Travis Benjamin back deep to receive. Setting inside the 24. He has some blockers and a burst of speed across the 35. And he is taken down at the 37-yard line. Bo Brinkley makes the tackle, a 55-yard punt. Well, here comes Johnny Manziel making his 3rd start. Adam, we were in Carolina when he made his 2nd career start last year.
Last year when he got the job, he didn't look prepared and he looked overwhelmed. He certainly didn't look very comfortable. Last week when he got a chance to come in for Josh McCown, he looked much better running the offense. And I think if the reads are clean for him and he gets the ball out of his hands quickly, then he can do an efficient job.
Crowell is the first tailback in the ball game for the Browns. Barnage, the tight end, came over and settled on the right side of the offensive line. Crowell's first run right into the gut. And he is met at the 40-yard line. Take a look at the Browns lineup. We'll begin with their offensive line. Well, we love Joe Thomas, and he loves Alex Mack, and the fact that he is back for the Cleveland Browns at center. From a specialty standpoint for the Browns offense, well, they've got some weapons. Brian Hartline is the best route runner of the receivers. He came in for the Miami Dolphins. 2nd down and 8 from the 40. Manziel off the play fake. First pass of the day, looking long, middle of the field. He has Benjamin. He makes the catch, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland Browns. 60 yards from Johnny Manziel. You want to race the butterflies? This will race the butterflies.
Well, last week the big hero for Tennessee was Cody Sensabaugh, who started the game with a pick 6. This time, in for Jason McCourty, draws the coverage of Travis Benjamin. And coming into this game, they felt that if they saw that matchup with Sensabaugh and press coverage, they were going to take advantage of it. And Johnny Manziel seems to have a great connection going deep for Benjamin in the first 2 weeks.
Extra point for Coons is good. The Browns have jumped out to a 7-0 lead. A 60-yard touchdown pass from Johnny Manziel to Travis Benjamin. Pretty good way to start a Sunday afternoon here in Cleveland.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. The Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Seven 0 Cleveland. Coons will kick off for the 2nd time. Sankey again back deep to receive. This one, he again takes a knee. Good carry on that. It'll be 1st down for the Titans. 2nd possession of the afternoon. Well, for Johnny Manziel, pretty comfortable with that first pass to Travis Benjamin for the touchdown.
It was drawn up perfectly. They're trying to take advantage of the safety here and attack the middle of the field. Michael Griffin reacts to the play-action pass. Denoris Searcy on the other side looks to double that receiver, and that leaves no inside presence for Cody Sensabaugh. That's an easy throw and catch. Great connection from Manziel to Benjamin.
So Johnny Manziel and the Browns up 7-0. Now he'll watch Mariota on his 2nd possession of the day. Mariota 1 for 2 on the first possession. In motion is Fasano off the fake, the handoff to McCluster, and he's wrapped up from behind after a gain of 3. Randy Starks makes the tackle for the Browns. Well, you asked Ken Whisenhunt yesterday about McCluster. He's a weapon that they got from the Kansas City Chiefs, was hurt last year. They'd like to get him more involved in the game plan.
The big issue is he a receiver or is he a running back? He's a guy that if you can get him the ball in space, he can win some matchups. But what plays do you dedicate to try and get him into the offense?
Well, he's in the backfield with Sankey. Mariota again out of the shotgun. On 2nd down and 7, they move Fasano in motion. Mariota has time, lofts it to the near side, and Fasano can't grab it. I think he felt like he was grabbed from behind. It's incomplete. Tashaun Gipson in on the coverage.
Well, Tashaun Gipson, it was, you go back to last week, he had that big interception. He got stripped by Brandon Marshall to give the ball back to the New York Jets. But, boy, you talk about a guy who was just a ball hawk. One of the best safeties in the game at reading the quarterback's eyes. Has just done a great job of creating turnovers for this defense.
Tied with Richard Sherman for the most interceptions the last 3 years. 3rd down and 7. Kaufman in motion. Boy, this is where Mariota would love Delanie Walker. He has the ability to run, and he runs for the 1st down and is taken down across the 35. He fumbled the ball, but the whistle's blew. They'll say he was down. Gipson with the tackle after a 13-yard gain.
Cleveland Browns defense, they bluff. They put the linebackers inside to try and bait the quick pass, and they bail out at the snap. Marcus Mariota doesn't find any of his receivers, and something he didn't do a lot of last week in that game, using his legs to move the chains. And that's a dimension that they bring. You don't want to put him in harm's way too much, but that's something you have to account for as a defense.
First down, pistol formation with right behind Mariota. The handoff to Sankey running left, and he bounces off his offensive lineman up to the 41, so a gain of 5. Danny Shelton makes the tackle for the Browns.
Well, if you want to run the ball, you're going to have to move Danny Shelton in the middle. They drafted him in the 1st round this year, and when you look at him, he was one of the best performers last week on this Cleveland Browns defense. A guy that when you run a 3-4 defense like Jim O'Neill and Mike Pettin want to run, taking up those double teams, and then the inside of this defensive front really played well last week against the New York Jets.
Steve Sarkisian, who was his college coach, who's now at USC, said he was at the top of the list of players that he has coached during his years. 2nd down, West takes the handoff, and he fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the Browns. Joe Hayden corralled it in the air. The ball was knocked loose at the 45-yard line. Cleveland will take over, up 7-0. First turnover of the game. Carlos Dansby wasn't sure if he would play. He's not only played, but he's forced a fumble in the 1st quarter.
Well, Terrence West inside, and he picked up some good yards, but I think the combination of Carlos Dansby and Dante Whitner knocked the ball out, and that's something that this team needs. Set up Johnny Manziel with a short field.
So a short field begins at the 50. Duke Johnson was in motion. Manziel's pass is complete to Benjamin, a gain of 5. Let's take a look at the Titans defense, which was burned on the 1st possession. The middle, well, Jarrell Casey is as flamboyant a guy as you're going to meet. Great to chat with. Brian Arakpo is over from the Washington Redskins. He was a big free agent pickup. He's got a lot to prove. And the secondary, we already talked about Cody Sensabaugh. He's playing for Jason McCourty. He was burned on that last touchdown for the Browns. 2nd down and 5. Cameron Irving, the rookie lineman, is in as an extra lineman. Duke Johnson is the deep man, and a timeout called by the Browns.
Charge timeout. Cleveland. 30-second timeout.
So Mike Pettin will use his first timeout with time to spare here in the 1st quarter. Well, there's Terrence West, who is over from the Cleveland Browns. He was traded just before the start of the season to the Titans. And Joe Hayden, he wanted to make sure, he and Dansby both, that there would be turnovers in this ball game. And they've got the first turnover of the day.
I think it's interesting that here we've seen Tennessee on 2 drives and not a lot of Bishop Sankey. Dexter McCluster getting some early carries. Terrence West getting some carries, but Bishop Sankey, who I thought ran really hard last week against a lot of 8-man fronts against that Tampa Bay defense, not getting the early work for this offense.
Reset the
Second
game
down
clock
and
to
5.
9 minutes and 50 seconds.
They're trying to reset the stadium clock to 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
Thank you.
So they are adjusting it right now. That's what the holdup is. Well, that little guy in the backfield, that is Duke Johnson. Malcolm Johnson is the fullback. Under center is Manziel. The handoff to Johnson. Following his block, trying to get to the outside. Breaks one tackle. Arakpo takes him down close to the 41-yard line. A gain of 4 on the play.
Well, you get a good block by his fullback, Malcolm Johnson, on Brian Arakpo, and that's one of those deals where Arakpo, who was kind of an edge-setting specialist, that's what he does in the run game. Can't keep contained and lets Johnson get outside.
So it's 3rd down and 1. Crowell is now in as the fullback. So Johnson and Crowell, Duke Johnson and Crowell, both in the game at the same time. See Barnidge in motion to the right side on 3rd down. The inside handoff goes to Crowell. He may have forward progress to the 40. Casey says no. Avery Williamson was in on the tackle as well. Looks like it's enough for a 1st down for the Browns.
And we talked to Joe Thomas about the offensive line performance last week, and they were going up against pretty darn good New York Jets defensive front, and they did not play very well. They didn't get a lot of movement, but they really felt like this week they matched up well against that Tennessee Titan defensive line.
Yeah, he was pretty positive about the line. He said that Alex Mack, the center, who's coming back from a broken bone in his leg, he's still knocking the rust off, and he's getting better with each passing week. On 1st down from the 40, Manziel to roll, keeping his eyes upfield, throws on the pass is complete. Andrew Hawkins inside the 25-yard line sends the ball in on the coverage, a gain of 18. This is good for Johnny Manziel.
This is great. You know, he makes a lot of mistakes when he escapes the pocket, but he keeps his eyes downfield the entire time, and that's where Andrew Hawkins is able to get away from Cody Sensabaugh. Right now, that seems to be the matchup. The Cleveland Browns wide receivers attacking Sensabaugh in coverage.
Manziel 3 for 3, 83 yards. Hawkins in motion. Griffin is shadowing him. The handoff to Duke Johnson. Flags come in as Johnson gets down inside the 20.
Personal foul, clipping, offense number 75. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, that's Joe Bitonio who's called for the penalty. Don't forget 12 penalties last week for the Browns.
You're going to see him go right there down at the knees from behind, and boy, that's a tough penalty. You get something going offensively. You're approaching the high red area of scoring position right after a turnover, and you mentioned those penalties. I mean, those were crucial big-time penalties last week that really hurt this football team.
Yeah, Mike Pettin and his coordinators all said that it was addressed during practice this week. Crowell on the sweep to the left. And another flag comes in. It sits at the 38-yard line. Crowell gets down to the 33. Don't forget, this drive started at the 50, and depending on what this penalty is, if it's against the Browns, we could be back close to the 50 again. But nope, it's going to be against the Titans.
Illegal use hands to the face. Defense number 55. 5-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Zach Brown called for the penalty for the Titans.
You're going to see him right there. He takes on, I think that's Joe Bitonio, and as he's trying to get off the block, pushes that hand right into his face mask. Boy, that's a big penalty right there.
Is.
Titans, 1st and 25. It was going to be 2nd and about 20. And now you basically give him a 1st down and give him some breathing room.
Yeah, to the 28-yard line. That's where Manziel will begin. He shifts the offense around, working out of the shotgun. 7:10 to play here in the 1st quarter. Quick pass to the outside to Barnidge, and he's got room, lowers his shoulder, and has a 1st down to the 11. Danaris Searcy in on the tackle. Well, not because he's 4 for 4, but he looks very crisp running this offense.
Yeah, he sure does. He knows exactly where to go. This was a zone pressure, and Angelo Blackson was responsible to the flat. But you like the recognition right here from Johnny Manziel. Earlier, he escaped the pocket. He got his eyes downfield. This time, he identified where the pressure is and hit the right target.
Last week, they scored just 10 points against the Jets. They already have 7 here in the first quarter. Crowell steps to his right, has some daylight inside the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland Browns. An 11-yard dance for Isaiah Crowell, his first TD of the year.
Mitchell Schwartz, the block right here. This is what seals it on Zach Brown. That edge is completely sealed. And then what did Mike Pettin talk about? When you get the one-on-one opportunities, our running backs have to make that guy miss. And that's exactly what Crowell did.
Well, every scoring play is under review. They're reviewing this one as we speak. Right now, 13-0. Browns on top. They've got a passing touchdown, and now they have a rushing touchdown.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football. And by Verizon. Watch live primetime games with NFL Mobile, only on Verizon.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Well, the replay officials took a long while to look at that touchdown by Crowell. And he did his best one-on-one to get to the end zone here, Adam.
That's what you want to see. When it's one-on-one with a defensive back, you have to go get it. And that's exactly what they wanted to see from these running backs. That was the key coaching point this week.
And a reminder, too, the hand was on the ground to help, but the hand is not down. If the forearm was down, he would have been down. Here's the extra point by Coons. And it's 14-0. Browns on top with 6:26 to play here in the first quarter. Again, the fumble by Terrence West, the former Brown, led to the score by the current Browns. Saturday, the SEC on CBS brings on the best game for the best conference as the Tennessee Vols try to end a 10-game losing streak, taking on the Florida Gators. The hoopla begins with college football today right here on CBS Sports. Both teams won yesterday. Well, I think the Browns fans would love to embrace Johnny Manziel, and this start for Manziel, 4 for 4, 100 yards passing, and cleanly running the offense, has been pretty huge.
This is what the Tennessee Titans fans were welcomed with last week.
Very true.
With Marcus Mariota going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So early adversity this week, and really the only time this season that Mariota is feeling adversity.
Well, Mariota will get another opportunity as Sankey is back deep to receive. Coons kicking off for the third time here this afternoon. Sankey has not returned the last 2 kickoffs. And this one will force him to take a knee 8 yards deep again. So what does Marcus Mariota need to do to help this offense settle in here, Adam?
Well, it's been about the self-inflicted wounds, and they've really hurt themselves, and they haven't allowed themselves to get going. In their first drive, they had 2 major penalties that really backed them up, put them in a 3rd and long situation. Marcus Mariota did a good job in their second drive of picking up the first down with his legs, but then you give the Cleveland Browns the football at the 50-yard line. So right now they just have to execute their offense and stop making those critical mistakes.
You saw the yards per play for both teams so different in this first quarter. On first down, Sankey is next to Mariota in the backfield. He'll take the handoff, trying to get something to his left. Not much there. A gain of just 2. Carlos Dansby in on the tackle. Replay every game of the 2015 season on demand with NFL Game Pass. Go to NFL.com/Game Pass to start your free trial. Sankey now 3 carries for 8 yards. Last week he had 12 carries for 74 yards, an average of over 6 yards per carry. Point of emphasis this year for the Browns was stopping the other team's run game. Off the play fake, Mariota sets up in the pocket, rolls, has Fasano at the 35. Dante Whitner in on the tackle, and here we go, a little hurry up for the Titans.
Yeah, one of the things you want to do with tempo is once you get that first down, you want to huddle up, try and catch the defense off guard. And this is what Mariota does best. Movement passing, finding his crossing route. Well done.
Kruger's on the far side off the fake. The pass incomplete. Intended for McCluster. Flags come in. Joe Hayden was working against Harry Douglas, and there was a penalty somewhere in that area. Terry McCauley sorting things out.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense number 83, blow to the head. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Joe Hayden signaled that almost immediately and pointed to Harry Douglas, who's called for the penalty.
What's been the story so far? 3 major penalties. And it's just too hard to overcome. You know, Mariota had a terrific ball game last week, but virtually every break, everything went right for their offense. But right now, his teammates, the rest of the guys on that offense, not doing their best to help out their young quarterback.
First down and 25. Fasano in motion. Mariano with the fake, pumps one, spit immediately at the 21. Joe Hayden stepped up, and so did Craig Robertson after a short gain.
Well, really, this is all about Craig Robertson. You're going to watch number 53 come right over here. He doesn't fall for the fake of Dexter McCluster. He reads out of it. Joe Hayden throwing his body in there, forcing it back to his teammates. And that's how you draw it up. It's so difficult when you play a mobile quarterback, accounting for that quarterback run game. But that was executed perfectly by the Browns defense.
Second down and 23. McCluster is in. Play clock is down to 5. Mariota to throw. Dumps it off to McCluster. He has a little bit of daylight and a blocker. And he's wrapped up from behind, close to the 30. 14-0 Cleveland. Let's go to New York with JB in an update.
Rob Gronkowski's 36-yard reception sets this up.
Yeah, it's a Brady to Edelman pass right here after he steps up in the pocket that ties up the score, 7-7 up in Buffalo.
Back to Tom McCarthy, Adam Archuleta.
All right, JB, we appreciate it. We love the back and forth this week with Rex Ryan up in Buffalo.
I think it's great for the National Football League. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a third long situation. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jim O'Neill bring some sort of pressure and try and get Mariota to get the ball out early.
First timeout.
Well, he calls a timeout with 3:52 to play here in the first quarter. So Mariota will go over to the sidelines and meet his head coach, Ken Whisenhunt. Don't forget the Titans are without Delaney Walker today, who injured his wrist in the second half of last week's game. He did practice yesterday. They tested it today, but unable to go. And that's a huge weapon that Mariota does not have this afternoon. And last week, obviously, Mariota relied on Walker somewhat, but how about this? 13 of 16, 209 yards. Fran Tarkenton in 1961 came off the bench to replace George Shaw to go 17 of 23 for 250 yards and also pick up 4 touchdowns.
Not bad. I mean, the quick passing game was perfect. I mean, he executed that flawlessly. And what I thought was the biggest part of his game is he really took advantage of the defensive breakdowns of that Tampa Bay defense.
And he did it quickly, facing a 3rd and 15.
Rocket!
Play clock down to 2. Mariota under pressure, throws as he's hit, and it's incomplete. Tremont Williams was in on the coverage, or in on the pressure, and flags come in on the Browns sidelines. Well, they're a little emotional right now here in
After
Cleveland.
the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 85. 15-yard penalty, the down count, 4th down.
Well, Chase Kaufman is called for the penalty.
Well, the Browns did exactly what I thought they were going to do, bring pressure. They overloaded this right side. Tremont Williams is the guy that comes scot-free trying to flush Mariota to his right. They get to him. They force him to get the ball out of his hands. And just a great defensive stand, a drive for the Cleveland Browns. But, you know, it helps when the Tennessee Titans have the self-inflicted penalties.
Here's Brett Kern to punt. Benjamin back deep to receive. Browns should get good field position here. Benjamin's already across the 40, inside Tennessee territory, breaks a tackle as flags come in way back at the 22-yard line.
During return, holding, receiving team number 15. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Boy, a lot of penalties so far in this first quarter. Johnny Manziel will get the football when we return to Cleveland. Cleveland Browns are red hot in this first half. Johnny Manziel 4 for 4, 100 yards so far, Adam.
And he started off this week like he did last week. A bomb to Travis Benjamin. The very next drive, they cough it up. They get the ball back at midfield, drive down, and Isaiah Crowell tops it off with a powerful run across the goal line.
First time with a touchdown in the opening 2 drives since the Giants game in 2012. On first down from the 48, Manziel will tuck it and slide. He goes under the defender. They'll mark him at the 46. Al Woods makes the tackle.
I think this is smart for Manziel. And this is exactly what you want to see. Nothing's there. You don't want to force it. Get as many yards as you can. Don't take the unnecessary shot and live to play another down. If he can continue to play within himself and not trying to do too much, then I think he'll have a pretty good amount of success.
John DeFilippo, the first-year offensive coordinator over from the Oakland Raiders, where he was the quarterback coach. Duke Johnson runs the pile to the 45. Woods again with the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 7 from the 45 of Tennessee.
Well, what a reversal for Cleveland. Well, really both of these teams for where they were a week ago. I mean, last week it seems like the Browns couldn't catch a break. They had a great first drive of the game. They lose their starting quarterback and the ball before they cross the end zone. And here they are enjoying great field position right here. Now, I think Taylor Gabriel is a guy that can win some matchups right here. I don't know if the Titans have a nickel or dime defender that can keep up with him.
Well, Gabriel's on the far side as we speak as Hartline gets his first attempt, and it's knocked away. Bleedy Ray Wilson makes the deflection. It'll be 4th down.
This is a great break by Bleedy Ray Wilson. Curl route. Brian Hartline runs a good route. I thought maybe he could have came back to the ball a little bit more, but Ray Wilson in perfect position to bat that ball away.
Andy Lee over from the 49ers. We had some remarkable numbers. Will really help out the Browns punting game. McCluster back deep to receive. Boy, this one hits a wall. McCluster calls for the fair catch at the 11. Marcus Mariota is as cool as a cucumber. Well, he's been under pressure so far in this first quarter. It starts with Kirk Cousins and the Redskins in a rumble among rivals with Eli Manning and the Giants. It's all here on Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Kirk Cousins against Miami in week number 1, 31 attempts. Eli Manning, well, we all know what happened there against the Cowboys, 193 passing yards, but it was that last drive that really hurt them and led to the Cowboys winning it in the final minutes. Dexter McCluster will be the running back in this formation. So here's Mariota under center, which he said he's worked on since the end of the national championship game a year ago. McCluster to the outside. He's got room across the 40, and he's inside Cleveland territory. Well, that's a burst right there for Dexter McCluster.
Boy, there was nobody right there. Watch the right side of this offensive line. Jeremiah Putasi, the rookie. Chance Warmack getting a block. They completely get up to the linebacker. Joe Hayden gets blocked on the outside, and look, that's one guy you do not want running down the field untouched is Dexter McCluster. And that's exactly what they needed to get on the other side of the 50.
44-yard gain. It was Harry Douglas who blocked Joe Hayden and freed McCluster toward the sidelines. First down for Mariota and the Titans. Not much going on the right side, but a few yards down to the 42-yard line for Sankey.
Tom, that's one place where this Browns defense, their run defense, where they've had so many problems going back to last year, had their issues last week. It was on the edge, and they really played a pretty solid game on the inside, but that outside linebacker position, especially with Scott Solomon leaving the game after the second play of the game, I would anticipate that's a spot that the Titans are going to try and attack running the football.
Mingo, the former first-round pick, is filling in for Solomon. Here's McCluster again, inside the 40 to the 38. Dante Whitner makes the tackle. And you talked about the run defense. Well, last week they allowed 154 yards on the ground. Last year, 32nd in the National Football League.
They did a good job in the first half against the Jets, but as that game went on, they really started to wear down. You had some missed tackles in the secondary. It's a good spot for Mariota to get involved in the quarterback run game.
He needs 3 yards for a first down. He rolls the pocket. Not much is there. He slips down, and he is knocked down. The football is loose. Mingo picks it up, and Dansby cleans it up. Mariota lost his hat as the quarter came to a close. Kruger and Hughes sandwiched him.
That is the end of the first quarter.
Second turnover of the afternoon finishes up the first quarter. It's been a resounding success for the Cleveland Browns.
With that?
All right, Adam, well, they're wondering whether Mariota's knee was down. He lost his shoe as he went toward the ground. Was the ball moving? He's down right there, but was the ball moving before he went down? That's what they're looking at.
Yeah, from that angle, and it's hard to see because the ball is covered up. It looks like his knee goes down. Now, at what point does the ball start to move? And that's what we can't really see from the angles that have been shown.
See, right there, it looks like his knee is down, and he still had the ball. Now, every turnover, just like every score, is reviewed.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Cleveland.
All right, so they must not have seen enough to overturn it.
That's close. I know you can't see a lot, but I guess, just the eye test, it looks like his knee is down before that ball comes out. I think maybe Cleveland got away with one right there.
Well, good field position again for the Browns. They begin from their 42. Manziel has one incompletion. He tries Gabriel on the near side. Not much there. Manziel frees him with a block. Still not much there. He's trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage and actually loses a couple of yards. Jarrell Casey continued the pursuit for the Titans.
Well, I thought it was interesting when we talked to Ray Horton yesterday, the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. I asked him, hey, have you seen enough film? What do you expect tomorrow from Johnny Manziel and his Cleveland Brown offense? And he said, we really don't know. We just kind of have to ease into the game, see how it's going, and adjust their defense from there. Well, after the first few drives, they came out on this drive with pressure. So see if they bring pressure here to try and force a mistake.
A loss of 3 on that pass play. He'll step up in the pocket. He's looking long, middle of the field for Hawkins, and it's incomplete. Broken up by Parrish Cox. Double coverage on Hawkins.
That's what we talked about last drive, is he can't make this throw. You got a free safety, Michael Griffin, in the middle of the field. You have great coverage by Parrish Cox. And those are the plays right there that Johnny Manziel has to learn to play another down and not force that ball downfield. I mean, he is so lucky that ball was not intercepted.
So 5 of 7 for 97 yards. Titans picked up Parrish Cox this past offseason to help out Dick LeBeau and Ray Horton's defense. Manziel runs and throws incomplete, looking for a Hartline. And the Browns will be forced to punt. And Manziel did tell us the other day in our meetings, as Mariota prepares to come back out, that it's okay. He's convinced himself it's okay to throw it away on third down and accept a punt.
Yeah, punting is a lot better than giving the ball up 4 times. And something they really had a hard time with last week. And the way this game is going right now, your defense is playing pretty good. So you want to make Marcus Mariota and that Tennessee Titan offense have to drive the length of the field.
This is a booming kick by Andy Lee. It moves McCluster all the way back, and they'll just let it go into the end zone. That's a 61-yard punt. Marcus Mariota down by 2 scores. We'll go back to work when we return to Cleveland. Week 2 continues later today on Fox. Then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Along with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. All right, here are the comparisons. And he knew there would be comparisons between today and last week. He understood that a perfect quarterback rating was going to be difficult to duplicate.
Well, what did he say? What did Ken Wisenhunt say? It's week 1. It was a great start. It was one game. And I think anybody who has watched this game, been around this game, played this game, you understand that there are going to be ups and downs. There will be adversity. And this is just one of many tests that he's going to face this season.
Well, down by just 2 scores at this point with 14:06 to play here in the second quarter. Mariota working out under center. Brown showing blitz on the near side. The handoff to Sankey running left. And Sankey is stopped after a 2 or 3 yard gain. Tremont Williams in on the tackle.
It's a good play outside by Tremont Williams, getting off of the block. And that's a place where they really felt they needed a veteran come in. Buster Skrine leaves in free agency, and they knew that they need somebody that they could plug in here, and a guy that had so much experience, has played so much football, and he came in there talking to Joe Hayden and said, hey, he has been a leader out there. He's been a true pro. He knows exactly what we're trying to do on defense.
Yeah, he said some things need to change, and it has to start with belief when he was talking about the Browns and getting a winning record. Second down at 7. Mariota out of the shotgun. Under pressure, throws to the middle. Incomplete. He overthrew his tight end, Kaufman. He was hit as he threw it. Let's go to New York for an update with James Brown.
Coach, this guy's big, bad, and a good pair of hands.
Yeah, Tom Brady's second touchdown pass of the day to Rob Gronkowski in the red zone, and 21-7, New England over Buffalo.
Brady, 398 career touchdowns now. Back to Tom and Adam.
Talk about FanDuel. FanDuel, you have it. You want Gronk. He is unbelievable.
You can't match up with him. It's impossible.
Third down and 7 from the 23. Play clock down to 2. Mariota steps up and fires. Pass is complete. Whitner in on the coverage. And that's Chase Kaufman. Ken Wisenhunt told us yesterday that Kaufman would be the receiving tight end to replace Delanie Walker.
Yeah, one-on-one with Donte Whitner. And the play just before, it was the same exact matchup. And they tried to run a little out and up on Donte Whitner, and Mariota missed his tight end. This time, he plays against Whitner's leverage, crosses the field, and he got a great accurate pass from the quarterback.
Gain of 14 up to the 36-yard line. Terrence West back in, first time since the fumble in the first quarter. Carlos Dansby in on the tackle. See the Browns fans welcoming Terrence West back to Cleveland. We asked Mike Pettin about the trade. He said, well, there's some immaturity issues that Terrence West was dealing with. And I think they also felt like Duke Johnson was going to emerge as a feature back in this offense. Second down and 6. Whistle blows at a timeout.
Second charge timeout.
Second charge
Tennessee.
timeout for the Titans.
30-second timeout.
12:01 to play here in the first half. Marcus Mariota just completed that 14-yard pass play. Here are some of the highlights from this first half for him.
Well, it's a different animal, and this week, as opposed to last week, he's been under pressure a little bit. The Browns front 7 has been very aggressive, trying to get to him. They're forcing a fumble, controversial fumble. And the big difference between going up against the Cleveland Browns defense as opposed to Tampa Bay's defense is last week it was a lot of zone coverage, and I think that's where these wide receivers really excel at. Guys like Kendall Wright having that knack of finding zone. But this is almost a strictly man-to-man bump and coverage secondary, so getting separation is a lot more difficult than what they faced last week.
They need to get across the 46-yard line for a first down. They do have man-to-man coverage on the outside. Mariota from the shotgun throws to his left. Pass is incomplete. Fasano, his tight end, was his intended receiver, but he let him just a little too much.
Yeah, that's one that he has to have because Fasano got the separation that was needed. Dante Whitner is going to come down here and try and take McCluster. That opens up that little void right behind. And when you have a tight end that comes open over the middle, you got to be able to hit him.
Boy, he's really taken some hits here this afternoon by the Browns defense after the throws. A little different story than last week against the Bucs. Another third down. He converted the last third down. Flags come in and a delay of game called against Mariota.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Well, they talk about his composure, and with all the penalties that the Titans have faced in this first half, his composure's been tested a little bit in this first half.
It will be tested, and I think it's every defense's job to go out there and make a young quarterback prove that he can handle any situation. So this defense is giving him a lot of looks, most of them man-to-man looks. They're giving him a lot to think about, and there really just isn't a lot of separation. You've seen a little bit from the tight ends here, but the wide receivers having a hard time getting open against these cornerbacks.
Third down and 11. With 7 on the play clock, Mariota throws off his back leg and it's incomplete. Joe Hayden nearly had an Odell Beckham interception. Pass intended for Harry Douglas. And there's an injured Titan, Chance Warmack, the right guard, down on the field.
Well, you know who was looking forward to this game, Tom? Joe Hayden.
Oh.
Needed a big bounce-back game, but here he is, matched up one-on-one with Harry Douglas, and he makes a great play.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL. State Farm. Find your agent at statefarm.com. And by Just for Men Mustache and Beard, your best beard ever.
Back here at First Energy Stadium, the Browns lead at 14-0. Travis Benjamin back deep to receive. Brett Kern on the punt once again for the Titans. He just gets it off, and Benjamin inside the 15 will return it. He's trying to get to the other side of the field, and he has a blocker that gets it across the 25 and now the 30 and out of bounds. Well, the Titans just sustained a nasty injury to the right guard, Chance Warmack. Adam, this is something they can't lose another offensive lineman.
No, they really need him. Here's right here, number 70, and you're going to watch at the end of the play, his left tackle, Taylor Lewan, kind of falls on that left leg of his, and you can see that he's in quite a bit of pain. So you really feel bad for him in that situation. And that, boy, for an offensive line that's been struggling to find their starting five, it's tough to lose a guy that you expect to kind of anchor that right side.
Yeah, they traded Andy Levitre to the Falcons. They thought they had enough in the house. Here's Manziel on first down. Duke Johnson breaks into the secondary out toward midfield. And Johnson with a gain of 20. Michael Griffin and Cody Sensabaugh finally take him down.
Boy, this left side, look at the wash. And look at how this thing opens up. A great block by Brian Hartline to come inside and seal off that backside. But, boy, that's what they want to see, the running backs. Don't try and do too much in the backfield. Once you see it, make your cut and explode through the line of scrimmage.
Duke Johnson, the all-time leading rusher and all-purpose yard offensive player at the University of Miami. On first down from midfield. He'll get it again. Breaks away from one tackler behind the line of scrimmage and gains 2. Johnny Manziel started 4 for 4. He's 1 for 4 since, but still he electrified this crowd.
They took advantage early of a passive secondary, a secondary that was trying to feel itself out. And he made great reads. He got the ball to the open guy, did a good job with his decision making, not trying to force too much. But the key is here in passing situations, expect Tennessee Titans defensively to put more pressure on him and try and force a mistake.
We've got a second down. The handoff to Crowell. Crowell steps inside. Gain of 8. We'll have an update of the Steelers ball game. Let's go back to New York with JB.
Coach Cowher says, give me a wide receiver with
Speed, JB. Here, Antonio Brown splits the coverage. Ben lays it up there. He takes his 59 yards. That set up a two-yard D'Angelo Williams touchdown run. The Pittsburgh Steelers have converted 2 two-point conversions with 2 touchdowns. They lead 16-3.
Tom McCarthy, Adam Archuleta.
Wow, a little different approach by Mike Tomlin. 2 two-point conversions instead of the extra points.
Mix it up.
First down from the 40 for Manziel and the Browns. Sidearm swing to the outside. And Hawkins will be knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Johnny Manziel looked like a shortstop throwing that football.
Boy, first down right now in this drive is the Cleveland Browns down. Their running game has been smash mouth downhill. Their backs are making great cuts. They're getting good push at the line of scrimmage, and then Manziel realizes he has a matchup to a guy that can make moves in space, quickly gets it out to him, and now you are here second and short.
Now the handoff to Crowell, who is hit behind the line of scrimmage, but keeps his feet moving. And again, Mike Pettine talked about the one-on-one opportunities. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Now they keep running the ball like this, so you have to continue, because this is, right now it's working for you up front. But in the passing game here, as you approach the red area, these are where you're going to have to scheme up some stuff to try and get some guys open.
Well, this will be the 5th run of this drive. And Duke Johnson gets to the 26. Well, Adam, you mentioned during the outset of the telecast during our open how important it was for Mike Pettine's team to have support for Johnny Manziel and to run the football consistently.
For both teams, they have young quarterbacks with not a lot of experience. And the big thing is you don't want to put them in obvious passing downs, because that's where these defenses can really take advantage. And I think the big difference here is the Cleveland Browns so far in this game have been winning first down, and that really gives them a lot of options in their playbook.
Here, halfway through the second quarter, Johnson again dances inside the 20. Patoa Tua and Williamson in on the tackle for the Titans.
Well, how about the second-year player, Joel Bitonio, number 75, leading the way up inside. And boy, you got to like the cut right there from Duke Johnson. Sees the extra man to his right, cuts to his left, and another terrific run, setting up a 3rd and short.
We asked Mike Pettine 2 days ago during our meetings, well, what did you like about him? He said, well, a lot of people thought that he would be kind of a scat back in the NFL. He said, we thought he could be a primary back, and that's why we selected him. He's out, Crowell's in, he'll take the handoff, trying to get the first down, trying to move the pile. And it'll depend on the spot here. It's going to be awfully close. Brian Arakpo in on the tackle for the Titans. Well, somewhere in that pile is Isaiah Crowell. It looks like the pile does move forward to the first down marker, though.
Your guess is as good as mine, Tom. I have no idea where that football is.
Terry McAulay decides to bring the chains out. Man, oh man. Decision time.
Well, you got a 14-point lead. Field goal with 6:55 gives you 17 points. But boy, the way you're running the ball right now, I don't see how you shy away from this running game. And this is the chance right here to make something happen.
Johnny Manziel trying to quiet this crowd. 67,000 plus. Mike Pettine said when they beat the Saints last year in the home opener, the stadium was shaking. It might shake to the ground if they get this first down here. Boy, again, it's going to depend on the spot. That was a quick snap to Manziel with the keeper.
I think the initial push there, I would say that he did get over the line.
Oh, they're going to say first down Tennessee, so they stopped him. I guess I could ask you now whether you like the call or not.
I don't. I mean, I know it's just inches, but Johnny Manziel, not the biggest guy in the world, but the Tennessee Titans defense doing their job when they had to.
Tomorrow on CBS, the geniuses from last season's hit drama are back. Don't miss the season premiere of Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central. Only CBS. Great stop by the Titans on 4th down. They'll get the ball back at the 19. The handoff quickly goes to McCluster, who spins away from Dante Whitner into the open field. And the Browns are fortunate that Craig Robertson was able to track him down, because he had another 20 yards in him if he didn't stop him.
Well, that's how you come out of the gate. Now, I believe it's Jamon Meredith, who came in for Chance Warmack, that gets up to the next level. And then Dexter McCluster, again, he's found some seams in the open field today. And so that's one guy attacking the outside, that edge of the Cleveland Brown defense. They're going to have to figure out a way to stop.
Now, with all the issues the Titans have had in this first half, they're only down by 2 scores. On 1st down, Mariota off the play fake has Kendall Wright. And that's what worked last week. Now, that one was a little behind him, but that still worked last week, and he gets a 1st down.
It's a very difficult play to stop, because right now the linebackers have been flying up. The front 7 have been doing a good job of stopping the run. And when you give that just that little play action and you freeze the linebackers, that opens up that slant window in from behind. And if you've watched Marcus Mariota, he has done that since he was at Oregon. And that's his offense, and that's where he feels most comfortable.
Mariota 5 completions now in this first half. From the 46-yard line. Off the play fake. Setting up in the pocket under pressure. Ripped down from behind. Armani Bryant with a sack for the Cleveland Browns.
It looks like a bit of an assignment error by the rookie out there, Jeremiah Putasi. He comes inside to try and get a chip on Jamie Meter, and he can't quite get outside fast enough to get to Bryant. Watch him as he goes inside. He reacts too late. That's an assignment error by a rookie, giving up a sack.
Loss of 7 on the play, so now it's 2nd and 17. 4:35 to play here in the first half. Desano in motion, play clock down to 1. They just get it off. Mariota under pressure again, steps up, pumps once, loses the football, and it's picked up by the Browns. Tramon Williams picked it up on the short hop. It's the 3rd turnover of the day for the Titans.
This all starts with coverage. There's nowhere to throw the football. And this is where Marcus Mariota has to get better and understand. Right now the clock has to go off and get rid of that football. He tries to make something happen, but hey, all he has to do is call up Johnny Manziel. Welcome to the National Football League. Defensive players are experts at getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands. Ball security is a major issue that quarterbacks have to deal with when they come to the NFL.
There's no play. Delay of game offense. The play clock expired before the ball was snapped.
Well, we wondered if they did get the playoff or not.
Down.
And apparently they did not. So that wipes away the fumble by Mariota. And that's a huge break for the Titans.
Wow.
It did look like the clock had gone down to 0, but again, it's up to the officials to throw the flag and to decide. It's not necessarily just whether it hits 0. So you see it's already at 0 before the snap occurred.
Sometimes you need a break, Tom.
You want to talk about a whopper of a break. That is a huge break for the Titans. One more time.
Please set the game clock to 4 minutes, 22 seconds.
Yeah, so that was down at 0. Mike Pettin's wondering what the heck is going on.
Outside of a couple runs that hit the edge, his front 7 is getting after the quarterback right now.
Yes, they are.
I mean, they are playing fired up, and he's got to be happy about that.
Mike Pettin wants an explanation. Our officiating expert, Mike Carey, is standing by. Mike, I know you're watching this game and watching on the clock wound down. What were your interpretations?
Well, just like what happened on the field, the rule is as soon as the clock goes to 0, the back judge, who was actually 25 yards back in the defensive backfield, throws his flag and tries to stop the
Please set the
play.
game clock to 4 minutes, 32
But it must not have
seconds.
happened that time.
4:32.
Yeah, Mike, you're right. We were looking at the back judge. He did not stop the play. They let it roll. But that is a huge break. Mike, we appreciate that very much. So they're resetting the game clock to 4:32 at this point, and they're going to mark the ball back where it was, and it's at the 34-yard line. Mike, there was no flag thrown, but again, by the back judge. But again, it did go down to 0. We saw that.
Well, there must have been a conference. Probably McCauley, who has a shot at the clock too, probably went and conferred and then confirmed that it was a delay of game, and then they went back and reset.
All right, so the Titans get the ball. Mike, again, we appreciate it. McCluster out of the backfield is wrapped up as soon as he touches the football by Christian Kirksey. Well, you're right, Adam. This front seven is getting after it.
Oh, they're fired up. Christian Kirksey, man-to-man on the running back. He sees this develop right away. Watch him shuffle, reads his keys, and then he just shoots his gun and makes the play in the backfield. They are fired up here right now.
Well, they admitted it. They were embarrassed last week against the New York Jets. The defense was. They wanted to make some adjustments. They've made some adjustments here today. 3rd down and 27. Titans need to get to the 44 of the Browns. Little dump off to McCluster, and he'll just get to the 42 of Tennessee. 13-yard gain, and the Titans will be forced to punt the ball away. Kirksey again in coverage for Cleveland.
We talked to Mike Pettine about playing synergistically on defense and tying the rush and the cover. And right now, the defensive secondary are covering so well, that's allowing the front seven to get to Mariota. They're hitting him after the throw. They're harassing them, making life very difficult for a rookie quarterback to deal with.
They punt the ball toward the sidelines from Benjamin. A flag comes in. Benjamin trying to get away from one defender, and he's out of bounds at the 15. .246 to play here in the first half. Terry McCauley and his crew communicating about who the penalty is against. Mike Pettine in his 2nd year as the head coach of the Browns.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team. Number 25 went out of bounds and did not come back in immediately. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Leedy Ray Wilson went out of bounds.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx, solutions that matter, and by Under Armour. Rule yourself. I will.
Well, we mentioned this is the 30th anniversary of the Dog Pound, and those are dog biscuits made from bologna that Hardy, one of our camera operators, was nice enough to try on our behalf. It looked like he enjoyed them. So the folks here with all the renovations that have been done to First Energy Stadium enjoy all the new food and all the new fare that's going on. They're certainly enjoying the game so far. Crowell on 1st down, running right. Gets across the 40. All right, here's the comparison, Adam. You know, Johnny Manziel started out as hot as a firecracker in this ball game.
He did, and then later on, their running game started to take over. The big difference here is Johnny Manziel has played within himself. He's made really good decisions. It really helped out by getting that first big ball to Travis Benjamin, but this is a lot of adversity right here for Marcus Mariota. He had the self-inflicted penalties at the beginning of the game, didn't have a lot of good field position, his down and distance was too long, and really that front seven right now is getting after the Tennessee Titans offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see if the offensive line without Chance Warmack, how they deal with the front seven moving forward.
Well, we have reached the 2-minute warning here in Cleveland with the Browns on top by 2 scores. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Well, with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. Last 2 minutes of the first half, Cleveland with the ball off the play fake. Arakpo is in the face of Manziel, and he tried to dump it off to Malcolm Johnson.
No, that's tough. Brian Arakpo does not honor the run one bit. Does a good job of reading run and pass, sees that it's a pass, gets to Johnny Manziel before he can do anything. That's just a good job by Manziel trying to get the ball out of his hands.
And Arakpo, who was a big free agent pickup from the Washington Redskins, had a lot to prove coming over to Tennessee. He was injured last year. He's been injured the last couple of years. Torn pectoral muscle last year. Third down, Manziel to throw. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Benjamin. And Manziel has not been on his back that often today, but he's on his back right there after that pass.
Yeah, he did a good job of recognizing blitz. This is vintage Dick LeBeau. Cross blitz inside. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. I think if Benjamin is looking for this ball, this is a completion. I think he comes out of his break a little bit too slow. Maybe could have been a little bit more accurate for Johnny Manziel, but good job for the Titans defense in getting their offense the ball before halftime.
Andy Lee to punt. McCluster back deep to receive. And McCluster inside the 15 will try to return this one. Boy, do the Titans need a big burst here. And McCluster stays on his feet. Flags come in late as McCluster gets across the 30-yard line. We'll see who the penalty is against.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 89, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Philip Supernall, one of the tight ends. Oh, yeah. He came flying into your screen. That was Tank Carter. American Football Without Barriers is a nonprofit organization co-founded by Cleveland Browns tight end Gary Barnidge, who you just saw, and Jets tackle Breno Giacomini in 2011. This summer, a group of NFL players went to Turkey to run a camp. Now, past visits have included Brazil and China. So hats off to Gary Barnidge. McCluster in the backfield on first down. Kendall Wright was just in motion for a moment. Mariota to throw. Pass complete to the 26-yard line. Harry Douglas made the reception. Draymond Williams in on the coverage. All right, so one timeout left for the Titans, trying to get something here in the first half. Over to the far side of the field, incomplete. Douglas was locked up with Williams again. Nearly intercepted.
Yeah, he's lucky this is not an interception. Tramon Williams is right there, just blanket coverage. That hits him right in the hands. That should have been an interception. That was not a great decision for Marcus Mariota to throw that ball in that tight of coverage.
So now a third down and 2. Cleveland, 14 points in the first quarter. We've had a scoreless second quarter. Mariota 8 of 15. He's under pressure again. Throws to the middle. Incomplete. Broken up at the last moment. Kendall Wright was the intended receiver. K'Waun Williams came in to knock it away.
Well, I like the separation that Kendall Wright got on this play. He was matched up one-on-one. You're going to see him come across your screen late, but that ball was behind him. And last week, the accuracy, the precision, especially in the short passing game, was there for Mariota. You've seen there's been a few balls here today that it hasn't really been there.
So the Browns will get it back. There'll be less than a minute left to play in this first half. Benjamin slips through a huge hole. He's going to get great field position inside Titans territory along the sidelines. Hurdles over Curd. Touchdown Cleveland. No flags. 78 yards on the punt return. It's 20-0. Browns on top. Parting of the Red Sea on that initial block.
Boy, is he fun to watch. his speed, and that punt return unit. Chris Tabor, the special teams coach, setting up a left return. And then the speed of Benjamin gets it to the outside. What a huge swing for the Browns here before halftime.
How about Pierre Desir and his block of Kern just to finish it off for the Cleveland Browns. Point after is good. 21-0. Cleveland is on top of Tennessee. Well, we said in the outset that the Browns needed to support Johnny Manziel. Well, they're supporting Johnny Manziel here this afternoon. This is just sheer speed and some great initial blocking.
Now, the blocking was really good, but one thing that you see from the Tennessee punt coverage team, they weren't spread across in their lanes. Everybody got condensed to the left side of the field, and then the Browns blockers had leverage. And if you get a guy like that who has that kind of speed, and you give him some space and you give him an edge, well, he's going to make you pay.
Kern was pretty slow to get up, too. Fortunately, he looks like he's okay.
But, Tom, how about the defense? You go back to last week against the New York Jets in a 2-minute situation. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes 7 for 8, 65 yards. They get a touchdown right before halftime and really gave the Jets an advantage in this game. And here they are in the same situation. They get a 3-and-out, force the punt, and then Travis Benjamin rewards them with a major touchdown right before half, and they get the ball to start the third quarter.
Remarkable, the last 2 minutes of the half and of the game last year, 76 points allowed by the Browns. Today they kind of turn the tide, just as they've done with every facet of this afternoon's first half against the Titans. Mariota will come back out with 53 seconds to play. His numbers, he's already reached his completion total from last week. It's been a much different, and I think we anticipated this too, Adam, a much different front that he's had to face here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, these games are going to happen. It's just part of the deal. And these are growing pains. He's seeing a defense that he's never seen before. A defense is playing extremely well here today, but as the season goes on, Marcus Mariota is going to have great games, and then he's going to have games where he has to beat some adversity, and that's where he finds himself here today.
Stevens in motion. Mariota is going to throw on first down, steps up in the pocket, hit a couple times, and then eventually drops. Meter, the second-year pro from Ashlands, with the sack.
But it's a combination of effort right here, going against the double team and not quitting. They run a twist inside. You get a pick by Paul Kruger. And then that's Mariota not getting rid of the ball. The clock has to go off. Understand the situation. Find a way to dump it up to your check down or your outlet receiver. But that was a great effort play up front by Meter.
Well, look at those numbers. 23 dropbacks, 3 sacks. That was the third. The hurries, the pressures, they're all coming. Little flip to Harry Douglas. And it's read beautifully by the Browns. Williams may be called for a face mask. Yep.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Defense number 36. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. The game clock expired. There will be one untimed down.
Well, there it is right there under the face mask of Harry Douglas. Now, the game clock did expire, but there will be
Correction.
one untimed.
Tennessee declines the penalty. That is the end of the first half.
Would have been one untimed down, but Tennessee decides we're going to regroup. They're going to decline the penalty, and that is the end of the first half. 21-0 Cleveland on top of Tennessee at the end of the first half. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50. 21-0, Cleveland on top of Tennessee here at halftime in Ohio. Now let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. This is the best way to start a game. Johnny Manziel, a 60-yard touchdown pass to Travis Benjamin right out of the chute. That relaxed everybody and gave the Browns an early lead, and they just built on it from there. Along with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. There's so many things I want to talk to you about this game. It's somewhat unexpected what the outcome was in the first half.
It is, especially the way both these two teams started last week. I think, this is a game that Marcus Mariota, for the first time in his young career, faces a lot of adversity. The front seven really starting to get after it, and he's starting to see what life is like in the National Football League. And I think for Cleveland, boy, you got to be very pleased with where Johnny Manziel is at. He has made good decisions. He has had some terrific reads. The running game in that second quarter really started to go well. And, boy, the defense here in front of the dog pound really harassing Mariota in that Titans offense.
All right, so here are the first half statistics for the Titans. 152 total yards. The Browns, 173. Penalties have been huge. 8 penalties for the Titans for 85 yards. We talked during the outset that Johnny Manziel needs a supporting cast. Well, today he has received that supporting cast. Manziel, he's been efficient. Travis Benjamin, he's been on another planet. 214 all-purpose yards for the Cleveland Browns. Well, the Browns won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So they'll get the ball. Drone back deep to receive. Ryan Suckup will tee it up at the 35-yard line. And we're ready to go. We'll see if there's a different climate for the second half compared to the first. A fast start for the Browns. That one's going to go out of the end zone and into the first row of the dog pounds. All right, so let's take a look at the comparison between Johnny Manziel and Marcus Mariota.
Well, it was a great start. Last week he came into the game, immediately found Benjamin on a 54-yard touchdown. Again in this game, came in, dialed it up through a great pass to hit his big-time playmaker. And, it's been a pretty mixed bag for Mariota. A lot of adversity. The front seven that he has to deal with right now is playing a terrific ball game for the Cleveland Browns. And his wide receivers are really struggling right now to separate man-to-man coverage.
So, 8 carries, 33 yards in the first half. Is in the backfield. That's Hartline in motion, and the handoff goes to Crowell. He breaks away from Casey and gets up to the 29-yard line. Zach Brown makes the tackle. It's a gain of 9 for the Browns.
Well, last week, the New York Jets defensive front was among one of the best in football. And here against the Tennessee Titans, Jurrell Casey up front, a guy that wreaks so much havoc. But this zone running scheme with Joe Thomas and Joel Bitonio, Alex Mack on that left side, really getting a lot of movement on that Tennessee defensive front.
Yeah, John DeFilippo said that they challenged their offensive linemen this week to step up their game. The handoff is given to Duke Johnson, who's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Jurrell Casey makes the tackle, but there is a flag down. Looks like it will go against the Browns.
Offense number 75. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
All right, so Joel Bitonio called for the personal foul, called for the holding.
There he is right here. And that's Jurrell Casey. He's going to come on an inside stunt. You see how fast he is, how disruptive he is. He is so quick and fast off of the ball. He really hasn't had an impact in this game, but boy, that was a lightning inside stunt by Casey.
How much did we enjoy talking to him yesterday when the Titans came to town?
He's confident, and he should be.
Second down. Manziel, the handoff to Johnson, running left. He's hit from behind and then eventually taken down at the 18-yard line. Al Woods over from the Steelers, fitting in nicely with Dick LeBeau's defense.
And when you play against a zone running scheme like the Browns are employing, everything is about the double teams. And they tried to get movement on Woods, put 2 blockers on him, but he split it, ran down the line of scrimmage, and made a great play.
There is Dick LeBeau, the legend that is Dick LeBeau. 78 years old. He's the assistant head coach in charge of the defense. He went out and shot 2 under the other day, celebrating his birthday. That's remarkable. Manziel steps up in the pocket, rolls to his right, throws on the run, has Hawkins for a first down. He never kept his eyes off his receivers on that run.
Oh, I think this is terrific. Tennessee running a twist game, bringing Brian Orakpo up inside. trying to get hands in Johnny Manziel's face. And boy, that's a perfectly thrown ball, drifting to his right, keeping his eyes downfield. He identifies Hawkins coming over the middle and delivers an accurate pass. Good stuff that you're seeing in this game from Johnny Manziel.
Gain of 16, a first down. In motion is Dre, the tight ends. Titans showing blitz from the far side. The handoff to Johnson, and he breaks one tackle and gets up to the 39. Derek Morgan makes the tackle. Morgan's been kind of quiet here this afternoon. 7 tackles last week in the win against the Buccaneers. Morgan, the 6th-year pro out of Georgia Tech. Manziel points out the Mike linebacker. We have a funny story about that. On 2nd down and 5 from the 39. Johnson hit by Arakpo behind the line of scrimmage and taken down. Joe Thomas was telling us that the maturation of Johnny Manziel, the football player, earlier this preseason, he called out the Mike linebacker, and Thomas said we all wanted to stop and cheer and give him a hug because he was able to do it the proper way.
That's pretty funny. You know, to Johnny's defense, at Texas A&M, there was none of that.
And he said that.
And it was all on him to go out there, put everything on his back, and to create. Now he's learning all the little things that go into being an NFL quarterback.
Facing a 3rd down and 7. Only 1 3rd down completion in the first half. He's under pressure, gets away. He's still under pressure as he throws, and he's just throwing it away. Sensabaugh was in on the initial pressure by the Titans, and Searcy cleaned it up from the backside.
It's a great play by Manziel, and Cody Sensabaugh has a sack. You have to rush the outside upfield hip of the quarterback and force him inside, but a nice job by Denoris Searcy to kind of come in there, clean it up, and force Johnny Manziel to get rid of the ball.
Dexter McCluster back deep to receive for the Titans. He has 1 punt return today, 14 yards. This is a high kick, and McCluster goes all the way back to the 5. That is a booming kick. And the coverage was there. They stop him at the 10-yard line. Sean Drone with the tackle, a 58-yard punt. Marcus Mariota in a hole, down 21-0. How about this nugget right there? The last time the Browns held a 21-point lead at halftime was back in 1994 against the Seattle Seahawks. Our BA, Scott Martin, was only 4 years old at that time. I'm not sure if he has any recollection of it. McCluster in the backfield. Mariota on 1st down from the 10. The handoff to McCluster. And he gets a few up to the 13. So the possessions for the Titans in the first half, this tells a storyline. 2 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and 5 punts. And then, of course, the half came to a close on the final possession. So with all that said, Adam, what does Mariota and the Titans need to do to get back in this game?
I think they have to do what they did on that last snap. You go back to last week and you saw a lot of big, multiple tight end formations. I think they have to condense the formations and really get that ground attack going. Dexter McCluster was one of the bright spots for this offense in the first half.
Well, they give it to Sankey, and he's stopped after no gain. Deshaun Gibson makes the tackle. Came up from his free safety position. So now they're facing a predictable 3rd down and 7 for Mariota and the Titans.
And this has been a struggle spot for them here in this game. I mean, this is a defense. He's going to see man-to-man coverage right now, bump and run coverage. I anticipate the Titans running some sort of a crossing concept to try and get somebody loose, but
Brown showing blitz on the far side. Mingo lines up on the far side. Here he comes. Mariota rolls, pumps once, throws it to the other side to Fasano, who's wide open. And Fasano along the sidelines has a 1st down and more. 33-yard pass play. When he let it fly, I thought it was a mistake.
A big lapse. You said it, Tom. Pressure over here. Fasano came in motion, and then as this play develops, sneaks across the line of scrimmage. Nobody accounts for him. You see the entire Cleveland Browns secondary drop him in coverage. And how about the poise for Mariota to stick in there, find his tight end, and give his offense a big play.
So a first down up to the 46. The handoff to Sankey following the block of Taylor Lewan, and he spins toward midfield. Whitner in on the tackle. It's a gain of 4 yards. Mariota took a hit as he flipped that ball to Fasano.
Well, he's been getting harassed today, but you see him just at the very last second finds the tight end over there. I'm not sure he even knew what was going on. He just threw it out to his tight end. He saw him come open. That is great awareness under fire for Mariota to get the ball out to his tight end.
Second down and 6 from midfield. Off the play fake, he looks to throw under pressure, and he's dropped at the 40-yard line. John Hughes. Sack number 4 for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, there was no time right here, but you're going to see heavy man-to-man coverage as these routes develop down the field. But really, Mariota has no time. But everybody is locked up right there. Nowhere to throw the ball. He can't get rid of the ball quickly. And again, the front 7 doing their end, putting tremendous pressure on Mariota.
Whistles blow, and a timeout called by the Browns.
Charge timeout, Cleveland.
Well, Mike Pettin is a defensive-minded coach, and he has to be happy about the way his defense is playing here this afternoon.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Honda, the power of dreams.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland, Ohio. There's a lot of positive things going on here in the city of Cleveland. It's third down for Mariota. Third down and 12. 7:56 to play here in the third quarter. Mariota pumps once under pressure. Taken down. Dante Whitner was there. So was Armani Bryant. Another sack for the Cleveland Browns. That's 5 sacks for the Browns defense this afternoon.
Jim O'Neill emptying out the bucket right now, bringing every different types of pressure, giving Mariota so many different looks. They can't make the adjustment. He can't find the receiver to get the ball to, and boy, this is a pretty special performance by this front 7 in this game.
We told you that they were kind of embarrassed after last week's game. They had no sacks last week, and they have all those sacks here today, and Benjamin has all those all-purpose yards. Browns will have it up 21 with 7:11 to play here in the third quarter. Armani Bryant and the rest of the Browns are having a banner day with their pressure on Marcus Mariota. Up 21-0 with 7:11 to play here in the third quarter. Browns will get it back. Good field position again. That's been part of the storyline today. Dre is in motion. The flip goes to the near side for Duke Johnson, and he is stopped. Now, that wasn't a great run, but the running game has been supportive today for Johnny Manziel.
It sure has. The thing that you kind of notice are these young running backs finishing their runs today. They're getting a better performance than they got last week from their offensive line. And then when you take a look at Johnny Manziel getting outside the pocket, the thing that stands out is just his decision making. Getting down, not forcing anything, made some really good throws on the move. So right now for Manziel is about game management. Don't do anything to let the Titans get back in this.
Ball off the play fake. The pass is incomplete. That was a dangerous one. Intended toward the middle for Dwayne Bowe. First attempt of the day for Bowe. Only one more day until the biggest premiere in the universe. You won't want to miss the first new episode of the season, The Big Bang Theory, on its new night tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, right here on CBS. Dwayne Bowe has been a hot topic in the city of Cleveland. He was involved the other day at practice, particularly in the red zone. He's only had that one pass attempt to him today. Third down and 10. Manziel steps up in the pocket. The ball is loose, and it's picked up by the Browns. Wesley Woodyard knocked it away, and Schwartz fell on top of it.
I think it's Derek Morgan over here off of the edge. against Mitchell Schwartz. And this is Manziel has to have a little bit better awareness. Terrific job in there. As a matter of fact, that wasn't Derek Morgan.
Yeah, it was Woodyard.
Yeah, it was Wesley Woodyard coming in, kind of hug up his running back, getting the extra pressure. But, right now at this point in the game, ball security, taking care of the ball is #1 priority for Manziel.
Here's McCluster. Let's see if he can get something going for the Titans. Down 21-0. And he gets across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Well, today we came in thinking the storyline was going to be Johnny Manziel and his maturation against Marcus Mariota. It has certainly been a storyline.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Well, the Titans with the ball on first down from the 33-yard line. McCluster in the backfield. Mariota 9 of 17 here this afternoon. Hands it off to McCluster, and on first down, he gets to the 39. Marcus Mariota last week, not really pressured. This week, boy, has he been pressured.
It's been pressure to the 10th degree. And I don't know if there's been many passes, if any, where he's had a nice, clean pocket to throw from. And so this is a much different test than he had to face last week going against Tampa Bay. This front seven is fired up, and we talked to Mike Pettin and Jim O'Neill, and they really felt confident that their unit was going to have a big bounce-back game this week.
Helped out certainly by their secondary, one of the best groups in all of the National Football League. Gibson makes the tackle. Never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play, every story, and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now.
This is going to be interesting, Tom. You got a 3rd and short situation. Chance Warmack, one of your best run blockers at right guard, is not in the game. And you haven't had a lot of success running the football.
Well, West is in as the deep man. They're going to give it to the up man. It's going to be Jalston Fowler, the rookie out of Alabama. And he gets the first down up to the 45-yard line. Fowler played 53 games at Alabama, went head-to-head with another rookie in Danny Shelton. Well, the Titans still have plenty of time. More than 19 minutes left in this ball game. Down 21-0. This was their best starting point of the day. They started this one back at the 33-yard line. Another positive run as Shelton tries to rip the ball away. Dansby makes the tackle. So do you like this, what they're doing right now?
I don't really think they have a choice, because every time you got your quarterback who's starting his 2nd game in the National Football League, and he is getting pounded. And so right now, you want to try and win the football game, but you've got to try and ease up some of that pressure and try and soften up that front seven a little bit. And if you can run the football, hopefully that can open up some play action behind it.
Oh, they run it again. McCluster gets to the edge, and he's inside Browns territory as Hayden knocks him out of bounds at the 40-yard line. That's a quick gain of 10 for Dexter McCluster.
Well, these are the 2 tight end sets that we were talking about coming after halftime that I thought Tennessee had to get back to. Sealing off that edge, getting a tremendous block out there on the rookie Nate Orchard. And Dexter McCluster, who's got a lot of action here today at running back, has been a bright spot. He's been able to get loose and pop some big runs.
8 carries, 91 yards from McCluster. It's West who's back in as the tailback. He'll take the handoff this time, trying to follow the block of his right tackle. Danny Shelton comes down to make the tackle on him after a gain of 2.
But boy, if they had a drive like this early, where they stick with the running game, they don't have any penalties, it could have been a different ball game.
Well, there's Danny Shelton, who's down with an injury for the Cleveland Browns. So they'll tend to him. 2:43 to play 3rd quarter. Tennessee looking to get on the board when we come back. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS rocks with doubleheader action when the Steelers battle the Rams while the Chargers challenge the Vikings. Then the Bears and the Seahawks hit it off. It all starts with a team that'll take you all the way to Super Bowl 50. JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. There's Danny Shelton. Got off on his own power, which is a good sign. He received a huge round of applause. They're really high on him. 1st round pick for the Cleveland Browns this year. Washington. Second down and 8. This will be the 5th play. Only the 5th play for the Titans inside the Browns side of the field. Mariota to throw, short pass. It's complete. He has Fowler out of the backfield for a first down and more, and he rumbles inside the 20. Gain of 19. Joe Hayden makes the tackle.
This is all about Jamon Meredith, number 79, filling in for Chance Warmack. Gets outside. There's only one person out there ready to try and make that play. That's Christian Kirksey, but he gets that key block and another good play. I mean, this drive right here is what they would have loved to start the game with, controlling it on the ground, protecting their quarterback, moving the chains. This is exactly what Ken Wisenhunt wants to see from his offense, and you notice a lot more big sets, tight end sets, condensing the formation.
One receiver to the near side off the play fake. Mariota looking to throw to the middle of the field. Diving catch by Fasano. He's got it. Touchdown Titans. Well, what a grab by Anthony Fasano for a 19-yard touchdown.
I like the design of this route. You're going to see Fasano and the other tight end, Craig Stevens, and they switch. And you watch the break by Fasano coming right off the tail of Stevens. And right when he comes open, you see the nice little window for Mariota to throw to. And one of the very few times today, nice clean pocket, standing tall, and delivers an accurate strike to his tight end for the touchdown.
32nd career touchdown for Fasano. Just like every other scoring play, it has been reviewed. It's deemed good. So here is the point after by Ryan Suckup. So important for the Titans to get on the board with time left here in the 3rd quarter. Good snap, good hold, and it's now 21-7. Cleveland is on top. Well, Mariota picks up his 5th touchdown pass, and he's one away from Dan Marino as far as touchdown passes in the first 2 starts. Now that dates back to 1950.
I like the way they designed that drive. And it started with 6 runs, then they hit him for a little screen pass, and then when that front 7 was softened up a little bit, when they had him on their heels a little bit, play action pass, he hits his tight end. I mean, that's the way you protect your young quarterback and allow him to drive down the field.
All right, speaking of the Titans, here are the 3 big questions, Adam, that you have for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I think at first, as you see in this game, it starts with protection. They have to sort out things on their offensive line, make that a strength of their football team, get their running game going. And you talk about the young players. Kendall Wright has a bright future. They've got a freak of nature out there at their wide receiver spot, their 2nd-round draft pick, Dorial Green-Beckham, who just has to get experience. And I think how long will it take for Ken Wisenhunt? A lot of that depends on how fast Mariota matures, how fast the pieces around him come on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do think they have the right guy playing quarterback.
He also has an excellent coaching staff. Here's Drone, who'll return this one from the end zone, and Drone gets outside across the 20 before Griffin shoves him out of bounds at the 25-yard line. So the Cleveland Browns will have it 1st and 10 from the 25. All right, it's been a big play day for the Cleveland Browns.
It started off just like it did last week. Johnny Manziel finding Travis Benjamin for the deep bomb. Running backs taking over, running with authority. And then a guy that is just a treat to watch. You love to see him get the ball more often because he's so exciting when he has the ball in his hand. Travis Benjamin with a big punt return before halftime for a touchdown.
I think we can tell why he was an all-ACC sprinter when he was in college as well, as Crowell lowers his shoulder and is knocked out of bounds by Zach Brown. 2nd down and short.
Talk about the edge again. Great blocks by his tight end. Great blocks by his fullback, Malcolm Johnson. And there's nobody to force. That's an easy run to the right side.
Boy, these first down opportunities for the Browns, particularly early in the first half, have been huge to establish their offense here this afternoon.
First down success, so important. You're sitting here 2nd and 2, so many possibilities.
2nd down was not as profitable for the Browns because Al Woods I mean, he snuffed that out almost immediately. Went right over the center, Alex Mack.
Oh, my goodness. Al Woods runs, just bulldozes Alex Mack. And that's manhandling.
Crowell is going to catch his breath for a moment. Tennessee certainly has the advantage yards-wise in the second half. Johnny Manziel started 4 for 4. He's 3 for his last 10 throwing the ball. Facing a 3rd down and 5. Hartline in a bunch to the near side. Manziel steps up and he's taken down. He loses the football. What a hit by Derek Morgan to knock it loose. The Browns recover it. Duke Johnson was there. And Joe Thomas was there as well. And that is the end of the third quarter. A little hefty hit by the Tennessee Titans. Will return to Cleveland after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 50. We get set for the fourth quarter. It's 21-7 Cleveland on top, but the Titans will get the ball back as we begin the final 15 minutes of regulation. Andy Lee on the punt, stands at his 12. Gets this one off without any problems at all. McCluster will start from the 17. Let's see what he can do to get there and tighten some field position. Not too much. Well, this is the last play against Johnny Manziel to end the quarter.
Yeah, how's this for some Dick LeBeau working on the right side of this offensive line? A lot of stuff to look at, but watch Derek Morgan. He's going to be on the edge here, working on Mitchell Schwartz. Jarrell Casey loops around. You got your 2 best pass rushers isolated on the right side of that offensive line. And boy, Derek Morgan nails Johnny Manziel. The Cleveland Browns very fortunate to get that ball back.
Oh, Mariota under center. First down, first play of this fourth quarter. Down by 2 scores. Fasano's in motion. He has the touchdown today. The handoff is given to McCluster. He is slowed initially, but keeps his feet moving. Dante Whitner hit him at the line of scrimmage. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Gain of 1. It's 2nd down and 9. Mariota first half 8 of 16. Second half he's matched his yards already, 3 for 3. The whole composure thing, they are right about that. Handoff again. And Sankey gets up close to the 30. Carlos Dansby makes the tackle.
I think it's smart what they're doing. And got to get the running game going. You're only down 14 points. Your defense has got the ball out a little bit. You have to get a turnover, get it back to your offense, but you can't put your quarterback in harm's way. Setting it up in a 3rd and short is much better.
12th opportunity on 3rd down for the Titans. Mariota out of the shotgun for the first time on this drive. Sets up in the pocket, has time, rolls, and he could run for it if he wants to. He does, and he has the first down to the 36-yard line, maybe the 35. Well, this is what is in his repertoire.
That's what he brings to the table. And Cleveland Browns, they lose contain. And, you know, I don't care how fast you are. Barkevius Mingo tries to get there and bring him down, but Mariota can run. And if you give him an edge, especially on 3rd down, he'll pick it up every time.
Well, he gets the first down to the 35. Sankey is next to him in the backfield. Mariota has time again in the middle of the field. Pass is complete to Fasano for a first down. Gibson makes the tackle. It's a gain of 11. Well, what his teammates have said about his composure is very true, and we're seeing it here in the second half.
Well, you see what the running game is doing. It's softened up the front 7 of the Cleveland Browns, and you've seen him more under center a little bit. And there, he calmly goes back, waits for his tight end to clear the linebacker, and he hits him over the middle of the field. So working the running game, getting that front seven to ease off has really helped Mariota in the last 2 drives.
Handoff again, this time to Sankey to the outside. He's inside Browns territory to the 47-yard line. Tramon Williams makes the tackle along with Craig Robertson. Well, talking to Mariota yesterday, he talked about once the college season ended, he worked under center, and you see his numbers. Shotgun, obviously he's had more success today, but he's under center to hand the ball off an awful lot too. But he worked with Kevin O'Connell, who's the quarterback's coach for the Browns, up until he was hired by the Browns. And he said working under center with Kevin really helped him get acclimated to the NFL game. Second down, a little more than 2. Another handoff. Sankey barrels down to the first down marker to the 44.
I think more importantly, when you talk under center, you know, he had that one nice pass to his tight end for the touchdown, but he hasn't gotten hit. I mean, it's only been two throws, 2 attempts, but when he's been in shotgun today, virtually every snap that he's taken, he's been hit and he's been harassed. So they've done a much better job here in the last 2 drives of protecting Mariota and just giving him a chance to operate the offense.
Well, he's facing a 3rd down and less than a yard here.
Well, I would anticipate them running behind 340 pounds of Byron Bell at left guard.
They call him the Bear. Let's see if they utilize him. Mariota's going to roll to the right, and he throws on the run. Pass is caught by Stevens, who went high in the air. He's supposed to be the blocking tight end, and what a grab by Craig Stevens.
This is one of their plays from last week, and this was a touchdown to Bishop Sankey. But the Browns recognizing it, Mariota wants to hit Sankey in the flat, but he keeps his eyes downfield. The coverage was terrific, but that's just a heck of a grab by his tight end going up and getting the football and helping out his quarterback.
Well, Mariota pretty pumped up about that play and the way this second half is unfolded. This will be the 8th play, the 6th run. McCluster breaks outside down to the 27. Dansby makes the tackle. Mariota last week had a perfect quarterback rating. He's had a perfect second half.
I think what's happening here is when you go to the 12 personnel, that's 1 back, 2 tight ends. The 13 personnel, 3 tight ends. It really limits what Jim O'Neill can call, and it makes the Browns stay more in their base defense. And right now, the offensive line getting some movement, and that's allowing Mariota to really deliver the ball effectively when they go to pass.
Kruger's lined up on the near side. Watch him, number 99, as Mariota throws to the middle. Passes complete to the middle to Wright. And Wright has a first down to the 19. Hayden in on the coverage. Boy, he is making this a ball game right here. He and the Titans offense and their game plan.
Now you notice the difference. The last 2 drives, no heat. He hasn't been harassed. Again, he gives Kendall Wright a chance to work on Joe Hayden, to run away from him across the field, to do what he does best. And when he has the time, he's a very accurate quarterback.
Yeah, they're keeping the ball out of the hands of the Browns, too. Under 9 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Play clock down to 5. Mariota again with time. We keep saying that. Pass is complete after a quick bobble by Kaufman. Short gain. Robertson out of the coverage.
You see the impact the tight ends are making. These are just crossers. This is a mesh route designed to beat man coverage and try and just force a little bit of traffic there, maybe set a little bit of a natural pick. But again, the tight ends seem to be making the big impact right now. The wide receivers having a tough time getting open, but the matchup here in the last 2 drives have been the tight ends working against these linebackers.
7 completions to the tight ends, and they're without Delaney Walker, who's out with a hand injury. On second down, Mariota trying to get away from the pressure. Does. Sets up and throws, and it's incomplete. He nearly had that one intercepted. Well, that's his first miss of the second half.
Well, good coverage again. You got somebody open out here, but Mariota isn't looking in that direction. This is just a zone coverage by the Cleveland defense. Guys are able to get open, but because of the pressure, Mariota cannot find his open receivers and get the ball to him.
Injured Browns player, that's Craig Robertson, who's down on the field. We'll be back after these messages. Tuesday, it's a matchup you don't want to miss. Stephen Colbert goes one-on-one with Donald Trump this Tuesday on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Back here in Cleveland, along with Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. The Titans have scored once in this half, and they're knocking on the red zone again, but they're facing a 3rd down and 8. Mariota's numbers this half, 7 of 8 for 104 yards. The run game, the tight end setup, all have produced success for the Titans in this half.
Well, if I was the Browns and I decided to pressure, I would attack the right side of that offensive line, the rookie, and the backup, right guard Jamon Meredith.
And Potassi is the rookie, and we've got movement. Flags come in. First penalty.
False start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Chase Kaufman. There wasn't anybody there.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. Chase Kaufman was inactive last week, but because of the injury to Delaney Walker, he gets a chance, and it's a much different deal now. 3rd and 13 in the red area as opposed to 3rd and 8.
For the Browns, if they can hold them to just 3, or the attempt of 3, would be a huge break for the defense. 3rd down and 13. Mariota throws to the end zone, and it's intercepted by Poyer. There is a flag down, however, and the penalty's going to go against the Cleveland Browns.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 92. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Wow, what a backbreaker that is. A 5-yard penalty, illegal hands to the face on Dez Bryant.
Boy, this is tough. Poyer, who plays the dime coverage, is just spying Mariota, playing center field out here. It was not a good pass, but because of the illegal hands to the face, the Tennessee Titans get another opportunity. Right there, you see it, it's plain as day. Desmond Bryant getting a grill full on the right tackle.
First down for the 17. It's a whopper for the Titans. Mariota under center to throw. Pocket collapsing, rolls away from it. And he just tried to dump it off. He's fortunate it wasn't intercepted. It is an incomplete pass because it was a pass forward that was whacked down by Carlos Dansby. 2nd down.
Boy, he's lucky that Carlos Dansby didn't intercept this ball. He's running outside. These are one of those things you just have to try and learn, but that could have been a catastrophic mistake.
We weren't sure if Dansby was going to play today, but he and the rest of the defense have certainly pressured Mariota this afternoon. 5 sacks, 12 hurries, 8 knockdowns, and a lot of black and blues. They've been on the field a lot, though, in the second half. It's 2nd down. The handoff goes to Sankey. And he gets down inside the 15 to the 13. Mingo makes the tackle. Dansby's there as well. All right, what about the clock? 7:20 and counting to play. I mean, still plenty of time for the Titans to work something here.
Boy, but they got to score because, I mean, the good news is that their offense has shut down the Cleveland Browns offense. They've only ran 12 plays for 18 yards in this second half. So your defense is doing a really good job, but right here it is critical to pick up this 1st down or score as soon as possible for the Titans.
14th play of this drive for the Titans. It's a 3rd down and 6. They need to get to the 7. Mariota dumps it off, incomplete. He threw it behind Harry Douglas.
He can't.
Let's see what Ken Whisenhunt does here. He's going to keep the offense on the field on 4th down.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that he has a choice just because of where the game is. His defense is playing well, but they've got to be able to come away here with points. I think if you kick the field goal, good chance there's not going to be any time to make up the difference.
So it's 4th down. Where do they go? We shall see.
Kendall Wright's right here against off coverage with K'Wan Williams.
Mariota's looking that way. Now to the right. Hit as he throws, and it's caught! Touchdown, Dorial Green Beckham! The rookie goes high in the air and makes it a one-score game. A 13-yard touchdown pass.
This right here from Mariota, he's looking here the entire way. And then he shifts his eyes to here. And then at the very last second, he hits Dorial Green Beckham in the back of the end zone. Watch him as he goes through his progression. He finds the matchup. He throws the ball up high where his 6'5" target can go up there and get it. I mean, that was an excellent down for Mariota to deliver the touchdown.
Ken Whisenant told us he wasn't sure what Green Beckham could offer because he hasn't played a football game in over a year after transferring from Missouri to Oklahoma. Well, he gave him something big right here. With 6:42 to play here in the fourth quarter, the Titans have pulled within one score. Mariota, one rookie to another.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's, teaming up with the NFL like never before. Firestone Tires. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. And by Dodge.
Well, back here in Cleveland, Dez Bryant's penalty extended the life of the drive for the Tennessee Titans, and Marcus Mariota converted on a touchdown pass to fellow rookie Dorial Green Beckham. Mariota, who had the ankle injury earlier in this ball game, has been limping around a little bit as this game has moved on, but it hasn't slowed him at all in the second half. The Browns will get it back with 6:42 to play here in the fourth quarter. We will see if Johnny Manziel can answer Marcus Mariota and if the Cleveland Browns can put this game away when we come back. Your weekend starts with Kirk Cousins and the Redskins and a rumble among rivals with Eli Manning and the Giants. It's all here on Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Marcus Mariota has that ankle all taped up, getting a pat on the back from Ken Whisenant. The evolution of a young quarterback has been evident in the second half. This will be the first snap of the fourth quarter for the Browns offense. Crowell right up the middle. What an answer to the near side. And he's out to the 34-yard line. Sensabaugh makes the tackle after close to a 15-yard gain.
Boy, Al Woods just destroyed Alex Mack again. Look at the penetration right there, but there's no second-level support. No linebacker right there to fill up and try and get to Crowell at the line of scrimmage.
Crowell, 12 carries, 62 yards. They've been looking for something like this from Isaiah Crowell.
They want to be a great running team. Well,
Yep.
Great running teams in the fourth quarter have to be able to take over the ball game.
Under 6 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Manziel under center. And Crowell tries the left side, and he again gets positive yards. He'll gain 6. Searcy makes the tackle. Well, Mariota on that touchdown pass to make this a one-possession game has tied Dan Marino for the most TDs in the first 2 starts since 1950. I think he would like to pass Dan Marino. Not that that stuff really affects him at all.
You know what the great part about that is? All the adversity in the early part of the game, all the mistakes that were made by he and the rest of that offense, the way he responded here in the second half, never lost his composure, and when it mattered most, came through for his offense.
Second down at 5. Duke Johnson in the game, and he's close to a first down, up to the 44. All right, so now if you're the Browns, this is what you want. Run the clock. But if you're the Titans, you have to somehow stop this running game.
Exactly, and when you talk to Mike Pettin and you talk to the offensive staff here, you want to be a great running team. The game has to be relevant in the fourth quarter, and this is where you start to wear down on defenses, and this is where you start to take over football games. So this is a big test for this running game. In a half where the offense hasn't played very well, can the running game take over and close out this game for the Cleveland Browns?
Third down and 1. That's Hawkins who's in motion. Again, Johnson, and Johnson hits the pile and has the first down across the 45, and more importantly, he moves the clock. If you're Tennessee, you have 3 timeouts left, but if you're Ken Whisenhunt, you don't need to use them now, but you're getting close to that area.
Yeah, you need a big stop on first down by your defense. It's not timeout situation yet, but this is such a big way to open up this drive for Cleveland, because before this, in the second half, they only had 3 drives. They had 12 plays for only 18 yards, and they were having a really hard time going up against this Tennessee defense. But to come out here and get something going has been big for the Browns.
Another handoff to Crowell, and Crowell is hit at the line of scrimmage by Derek Morgan, but spins forward for a couple of yards. 3:35, 3:34. The clock continues to wind. Last year it was an unbelievable comeback on the road for the Browns against the Titans. Can this be an unbelievable comeback for the Titans on the road this year? Marcus Mariota just says, give me the ball one more time and we'll see. But he needs his defense. That's Hartline that's in motion. And again, it's Crowell. It's easy to see the game plan here. Just grind out the last 3 minutes.
First, charge timeout.
As the Titans use their first timeout. So the Titans down to 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Mike Penton is hoping he can run out the clock here in the 4th quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Red's Apple Ale. Pick different. And by a Subway footlong. There's nothing bigger, nothing better. Subway. Eat fresh.
3rd down and 6 for the Browns with 3:02 to play here in the 4th quarter. Cameron Irving is an eligible lineman for the Browns, an extra lineman. Johnny Manziel out of the shotgun, facing a passing situation to try to extend this drive. Here comes the pressure. He rolls away from it, sets up in the pocket, goes long to the middle of the field for Benjamin. He's got it! Touchdown, Cleveland! We were thinking first down, they're thinking touchdown, a 50-yard pass play.
Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M. Brian Orakpo clean off of the edge. He feels the pressure. He spins out of him. And instead of Mike Evans, who does he go to? Number 11, Travis Benjamin.
For the 2nd time today, Benjamin has had an unbelievable afternoon. The point after, and the exclamation point. It is good. It's 28-14. Cleveland on top of Tennessee with 2:52 to play here in the 4th quarter.
This is vintage Johnny football. Orakpo's going to come off the edge. You're going to see Johnny feel him to the outside. And then this is Benjamin out here working. You're going to see the safety come up. And the fact that Johnny Manziel finds his wide receiver after avoiding the pressure, keeps his eyes downfield. You see Benjamin right here with his hand up, getting open. And what a beautiful pass, hits him right in stride. When you gotta have it, that's what you want to see.
Well, you mentioned earlier this week how much you like Travis Benjamin. The Cleveland Brown fans are going to like him even more with 276 all-purpose yards.
One of the things this offense needs is that go-to guy, the one playmaker who forces defenses to try and account for him. And they really haven't had that guy. Dwayne Bowe was maybe supposed to be that coming over from Kansas City. But if the first 2 games are any indication, well, you better watch out where number 11 lines up on the field.
Sankey is back deep to receive, and he'll just take this in the end zone and take a knee. The Titans had a lot of momentum. The momentum was crushed by Johnny Manziel and the Browns. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, join JV, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Look at that smile. He's got a lot to smile about here this afternoon. So do the Browns as a whole. I know it wasn't poetic in the second half, but they came up with some big plays offensively. And now Mariota has 2:52 to play here in the fourth quarter. He's had a much better second half than first. He pulled within one score. But then the Browns answered. Mariota in the pocket. Incomplete. Intended for Douglas. Poyer and Hayden in on the coverage.
Well, what you like to see, Tom, is both these quarterbacks. You have two young players, two former Heisman Trophy winners. Both of them had to battle a little bit of adversity. Marcus Mariota had a very tough first half, but he came back, had some key drives here in the third and fourth quarter. And then Johnny Manziel, things weren't going their way in the second half, but when he had to have it the most, he went out there and made the play as well.
Mariota to the near sideline. Pass is caught by Hunter after a little bit of a bobble up to the 40. Tyrone Williams in on the coverage. First catch of the day for Hunter. Quickly up to the line of scrimmage. 2:25 and counting to play. Mariota to the far side of the field. He led Douglas a little too much. That'll stop the clock. Just not going to be enough time for Mariota and Ken Whisenhunt to complete a comeback.
Now that's a backbreaker. And here's the thing. It was schemed up perfectly. You had a free rusher at Johnny Manziel on a critical down, and the poor angle by Brian Orakpo allowed Manziel to get outside the pocket and find Benjamin down the field.
Second down, Mariota pumps once, looks long, far side, pass completes, incomplete. The reception was made by Wright, but he was out of bounds with 1 foot. It'll be third down.
Oh, this was awfully close. Watch the touch right here for Mariota as he tries to beat the safety, Jordan Poyer, coming over the top. But Kendall Wright too close to the sideline, cannot get his feet in bounds. An opportunity right there to cash in on a big play.
Mike Pettine's team has lost 6 straight, dating back to last year. Don't forget, last year they were 7-4 after the first 11. Lost the last 5 of the regular season. Lost last week to the Jets and now have a 2-touchdown lead in week number 2 against the Titans. Pass is incomplete. No, it was caught, it looks like. Hunter with his second reception. I thought that ball hit the ground, but he was able to keep his hands under it. 14-yard gain.
How about Justin Hunter? Another one of these young wide receivers for the Titans.
2-minute warning. Titans down by 2 scores. Do they have a breath left? We'll find out. Well, Terry McAulay is under the hood as they are taking a look at this catch. Adam, what do you think on this grab by Hunter?
Well, the way I understand the rule is that he bobbles it and the ball is allowed to touch the ground as long as it doesn't move significantly when the receiver is going to the ground. So the way I understand the rule, and as we all know there's a lot of gray area there, I think they're going to uphold this as a catch.
Well, here is Terry
After
McAulay.
review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Tennessee. Cleveland is charged with their first timeout.
All right, so Cleveland's charged with a timeout. Mike Carrier, officiating expert. Mike, what did you think of that call?
Yeah, this is one in the gray area. The rule says the receiver has to show control before the ball hits the ground. There was a little bobble in there, so when he got control, the question is, did he have it clearly before the ball hit the ground? And when you saw it hit the ground, it didn't move enough. So that's why the ruling on the field stood.
Yeah, there is, as Mike said and Adam said, there's so much gray area, but it looks like it is the right call. So, Mike, we appreciate that. Appreciate your help this afternoon. Mariota to throw on first down, near side, incomplete, intended for Douglas. 1:55 to play here in the fourth quarter. Time is not on the side of the Tennessee Titans as they face a second down by 2 scores. And Johnny Manziel took care of that. Receivers, Douglas and Wright. Mariota to throw, middle of the field, pass complete. Chase Kaufman makes the reception. They'll move the chains, a gain of 11. Clock continues to wind.
You got a chance. You have to score rather quickly, but you still have a chance if you do score to get an onside kick.
Mariota drops the ball, and it's picked up by the Titans. They'll maintain possession. K'Waun Williams knocked the ball away.
Boy, K'Waun Williams.
Second charge timeout, Tennessee. The ball was recovered by the teammate of the fumbling player under 2 minutes. It belongs to the fumbling team at the spot of the fumble. Second down.
So the ball will be spotted where it was picked up by McCluster.
What a play by K'Waun Williams. Watch as he knifes through here. Dexter McCluster's going to try and come over here and get a block on him. But that's just a terrific job of navigating through traffic, beating the block of McCluster, getting to Mariota, getting the ball out, and ending the Tennessee Titans drive, or almost ending the Tennessee Titans drive.
So now it'll be second down for the Titans. Do they have to take a shot at some point with 1:31 to play?
Well, you got to make it happen. I mean, right now you're second and long. So you've got to score quickly. There's still time. Get the onside kick, but it's running out.
Mariota steps up in the pocket, middle of the field, pass is complete inside the 30-yard line to Chase Kaufman. They have one timeout left. They're going to hang on to it. You would think right here on third down, they've got to get the first down, but this is two-down territory, obviously, but they can take a shot with one of these. Mariota toward the end zone, incomplete. Well, there was the shot. Now they've got to get the first down and keep this thing rolling, but only 1:04 to play here in the fourth quarter.
Well, I think he had Kendall Wright early, and if he got that ball and put a little bit less air under it, they might have had something there, but Dante Whitner was in pretty good shape.
Well, this is the ball game, or any thought of the Titans making a miraculous recovery in the last minute of the game. Fourth down and 2. Wright is in motion. Mariota has the first down of Fasano inside the 20-yard line. But the clock is under a minute to play. They still have the one timeout left. Mariota hit from behind. The ball is loose. It's recovered by the Browns. Was the arm moving forward, though? It'll be first down Cleveland. Bryant knocked it loose. Starks recovered it for the Browns. And the Cleveland fans will go home happy this afternoon thanks to their defense and Johnny Manziel.
Well, Desmond Bryant speed rush on Taylor Lewan.
The previous play
On
is
Monty
under
Bryant,
review.
the outside linebacker, speed rush, easy rush on the left tackle, Taylor Lewan. Gets to Mariota, and in key moments of this game, the pressure again. The way they started this game, they had a little lapse in the third and the fourth quarter, but the pressure today on Mariota and this offensive line has been immense.
Well, under 2 minutes, within 2 minutes, the end of each half, they'll review it.
I think it's a fumble.
And it's a turnover, too.
Yeah, he caught his arm. You're going to see it. Armonte Bryant off the edge, hits the arm before the arm's going forward. That's a fumble.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble. The quarterback lost control of the football prior to his hand going forward. First down, Cleveland.
That is the 7th sack of the afternoon for the Cleveland Browns.
And the ball's been on the ground a lot, but both teams have been able to recover their own fumbles, it seems like, for most of this game when the quarterbacks have given the ball up. But this is one of those great learning experience for Mariota. I mean, this is a big-time defense that he went to play against today.
Victory formation for the Cleveland Browns. The Titans can stop the clock only one more time if they choose to. Johnny Manziel takes a knee. And the last 30 seconds will tick off the clock here this afternoon The Cleveland Browns have erased the thoughts of a Week 1 loss to the New York Jets with a 28-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans. Johnny Manziel comfortably running this offense this afternoon for the Browns. That's the final. For Adam Archuleta, I'm Tom McCarthy. Let's go to James Brown in our studios in New York. JB?
All right, Tom, so it is indeed a victorious effort on the part of Johnny Manziel and Cleveland.